Hello and welcome, Silrace here with some Elder Scrolls Online discussion talk and opinions and stuff. And I want to talk about the Elder Scrolls experience and watering it down. So, by now, most people who have, really wanted to get into this game, got the chance to do that in the last beta weekend. And background footage is from the last beta weekend. Of course, there are some who didn't get in for various reasons, and there are people who simply are finally waking up to this game and like, wait, I missed the beta weekend? I want to know what this is all about. So I want to talk about the Elder Scrolls experience as you would have in Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, essentially the single player games, and compare that to the experience you are going to get from here. As we have seen in the various beta weekends and so on. So frankly, let's talk about immersion first. And I frankly say that, well, if you are going to play this for the sole experience of, single player Elder Scrolls game, you're not going to get that, especially if you play within the first 2 to 3 months after the release. Because there are going to be hundreds and hundreds of people running all over the places, leveling up in the same areas after the release. It's going to take a while until the leveling, like newbie zones are empty. People will try alts and whatnot, alternate characters, roll new things, try stuff out, so on. Then there is obviously no thieving, you can't murder random citizens and so on, and you can't steal your own horse at level 1, so that obviously takes some away. But there are also bigger concerns, such as the fact that, let's throw in a couple examples. For example, a quest where you are supposed to drag a guard so you can pick the box behind him. So you go and drag the guard, sneak around him and whatnot to drag him, but there are 15 people AFK around the box because they already dragged the guard and they are just idling there. That is obviously going to ruin your impression. Not to mention you are on some nice epic quest to go into a big ass dungeon to kill the evil overlord spirit dude at the crypt in the bottom. Once you make your way to the crypt, there are 50 people just hanging around because the boss is bugged and it's not respawning. Or spawning at all. That is obviously going to ruin your impression and, your view of this game as an Elder Scrolls game. And immersion of all things. Obviously, another funky immersion breaker is in the form of crafting, because typically in the single-player Elder Scrolls games you can pretty much craft whatever you want, unless in case of Skyrim and such, you need a certain parks and whatnot. But basically you can go and do alchemy and cooking and whatnot, if that's your choice. Here, for some reason you need to find or buy from other players recipes for provisioning. So you cannot actually you can go and hunt deer, but you cannot do anything with the meat unless you have the recipe from somewhere for that type of meat and whatnot. So there is obviously that, which kinda really breaks the whole cooking immersion thingamajig. So yeah, if you are really looking for a single player Elder Scrolls experience, you are just not going to get that from here. At least in the first 2 or so months until the newbie zones are pretty much starting to be empty. And a year in they are probably even more empty. So yeah. There are some really nice things though, because there are some good, really Elder Scrolls types of quests around. Well, such as you have to actually read clues for the quest to be able to finish it. There are, poems and whatnot, and you have to, from the poems, pick the right words to solve a puzzle in the correct order to finish the whole thing. There are things like that, and there is a massive amount of lore. There are books littered all over the place, all sorts of notes and paper scraps and whatnot for you to read and enjoy the lore of the game. But there are a lot of immersion breakers, and if you are afraid of that sort of things, well, firstly, the UI, you can set it up so that the UI does not break your immersion. You can turn the UI entirely off if you so choose. But there are going to be other players around. There are going to be bugs and glitches, not like Elder Scrolls Online, Elder Scrolls games previously didn't have those. But if you don't want to interact with other players, then this is just not going to be a Elder Scrolls game for you, so to say. Personally, I quite enjoy the fact that I can, well, at least the idea that is finally we get to play Elder Scrolls game with, you know, friends and stuff. So hopefully this, you know, my opinion, my view of this thing reached out to some of you who are on the fence whether to get the game or not. Depending, do you want to actually, you know, deal with other players, and is it an immersion breaker for you that there will be 50 people on your screen doing the same quest as you are? That is the biggest question. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you folks next time with some more Elder Scrolls Online talk. So, do you get to the Cloud District very often? No, what am I saying?